we live?
Yes, we are live. Welcome to Modern Manhood, a masterclass. My name is Dr. Damon. This is my guy, Donnell, my co-founder. And usually he does intros, but I'm so excited that I started talking first. We want to welcome you guys to what is the finale of our Father's Month celebration. If you are not following us, go to our website, manhoodmasterclass.com, and check in with us. You can find us on Facebook at Modern Manhood, and you can find us on YouTube. So listen, you see a lot of faces on this space right now, and that's not usual for our podcast, but this is a celebration, like we said, of fatherhood and of the experiences. So, Donnell.
All right, so first of all, fellas, thank you so much for sharing this space. As we reflect on everything that fatherhood means, I want to first say that you are valued and you are very significant when it comes to building healthy communications. I believe it does start with sharp leadership. This does not happen often. As we reflect over all of the activities that we've done this month, I have looked forward to being able to celebrate fathers. More important, be able to celebrate fathers that I look up to. And so thank you for just sharing your time and bringing this, what's going to be monumental, I believe, in this podcast. We've been hearing a lot of things about fathers. Some is good, some is bad, but the reality is that we all have opportunities of growth. And that does start with us being able to break bread with each other, all right? So thank you guys for riding with us, for supporting us, because everybody didn't say yes, but you all did. And you are leaders that I definitely admire, all right?
Absolutely. So I want to share some info with those who are following and watching, hopefully live and even in the recording. This is a space where, I say that a lot.
Yeah.
But with Modern Manhood, our goal is to create a space of safety, but also of authenticity and realness, right? We know that some of the conversations that we have as fathers in the background or in private are not always pretty. They're not always, easy. But we want to represent what it looks like in its, like almost in its totality, the experiences, the joys, the ups, the downs, the struggles. But we've invited the men on this platform because they have experiences that we know other men out in the community might even be able to see themselves in. And we've seen some of those struggles, but we've also seen the triumphs.
Absolutely.
And that's important for us. So if you're on this and you're wondering what it's about, this is not handing out trophies. Fatherhood, right? This is having real conversations, right? Having real conversations with men who are from all walks of life, who share in that commonality as men, fathers. So without further ado, I want to thank you guys for joining our platform. And here's what we want to do. I want you guys to open up and share with us your favorite dad joke, if you have one, and tell us, like, real quick who you are. Let's start at the top. Who's sitting next to me?
Oh, me? Oh, are y'all? Modern Manhood, among other things. And I'll just throw in a dope dad joke. All right, don't roast me. All right, safe space. But it was this: why do you never hear a pterodactyl use the restroom?
Why?
Because the P is silent.
Wow.
See, you don't know how to spell pterodactyl, so you probably didn't even get the joke. You can steal it because I ain't trademarked it yet.
Oh man.
All right, so here's my joke. I'm Dr. David, and co-founder of Modern Manhood. My joke is this: what do you call a dog with no legs?
Well, I know this one.
Yeah, me too.
What you call him? He ain't gonna come anyway.
There you go.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Always be smiling.
That's tough.
And look at Glenn. Glenn looks serious too.
Go ahead, G. It's on you.
All right, G. It's on you, bro.
Man, dad jokes. Ugh, I don't do those. Let me see.
No pressure.
Man, I don't have one. I really don't.
We're gonna get you one.
We're gonna get you.
Okay. We come back to me on the dad joke. But yeah, I'm Gennaro Pratchett. Everybody calls me G. Owner of Facials and Fades, and man, I am super happy to be here among you all. I'm very blessed to be among you all. So, thanks for having me, fellas.
Glad to have you, bro. When?
I don't have a joke either. I'm still on the first one, so I don't have
Oh,
a
the
joke.
dog one got me, man.
Yeah, no, but I'm Winfrey Burns II. I am a money relationships coach. I am also the co-host of the Scoop Show and an author of Surviving Relationship Storms. And yeah, I was glad to be here and looking forward to this conversation with the rest of these men.
Let's go.
Well, I'm like pretty much most of the panel. I don't really have no dad jokes either. So I don't be telling, but I tell one that I've heard that's similar to Dr.
What you
Dan.
got?
He said, "What do you call a deer with no eyes?"
What?
I have no idea.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Asa, please save us. Asa, please save us.
Come on, man. You got to do better, Asa. Come on, we pulling for you.
Redeem them,
All right,
Asa.
all right.
Please redeem them.
All right. So first off, thank you for Donnell, Dr. Damon, for bringing us all together to every father on this panel. Thank you for showing up and being who you are. All right. So my dad joke would have to be, how do you follow Will Smith in the snow?
Wow.
You follow his Fresh Prince.
Oh my God.
I don't know. That was
No, that's been the best one so far because I had no idea where he was going with that. That's actually really clever.
Yeah.
That's
It's
actually pretty
a
clever.
timely joke. It's a timely joke. You never know how it's going to turn out.
No, because I thought a slap or something was coming.
Right.
Same, I was expecting
Exactly. So
That's what makes it good.
So who am I? If you have no idea who I am, my name is Asa Laveau. What I do, I accelerate six-figure service providers. I accelerate their dreams to help them reach seven figures faster. I am the podcast host of Seven Figure Conversations with Asa Laveau. And shout out to my son Adonis for making me a dad in the first place.
Man, beautiful. Awesome. You ready, Drew?
I guess that's me now. I'm Andrew Jordan. I am just a man who does things and figuring it out still. I do a little bit of comedy from time to time when I feel like it. I do music. I've been lately. I've been learning how to do renovations and remodels and stuff. Like I just do shit. So as far as my dad joke, one of the favorite ones that I've heard was, "Why didn't the ghost go to the party?"
why.
He ain't have nobody to go with.
Oh, that's a good one.
I am going to use. I'm taking all of these.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was.
That's a good one.
All right. I guess I'm next. My name's Demetrius Davis, co-founder of Fat Lion Cigars, and just a survivor of the '90s. And I guess the only dad joke I can think of is one I saw on Laffy Taffy. How do you count cows?
How?
With a calculator.
Oh, now that guy, that is horrible.
Oh my God.
That's the first one today. With a calculator. Oh man, you know it's good when it's so bad it's funny.
I like that one.
That's what.
All right, we may have room for one more. Come on, Rashad, what you got, my man?
Well, okay. I'm Rashad. People call me Ray Chan. I'm Ramaya or Munchie's dad. And let me think, a good dad joke. Okay, dad joke. What is the difference between a tuna, a stick of gum, and a piano?
What?
You could tune a piano, but you can't piano a tuner.
Bro, that's good, bro. Hey, listen,
Where's the stick it down come from?
I thought it was about
I
to
knew
get
you'd get
really
stuck on that.
powerful.
Yeah.
I knew you'd get stuck on the glue.
Wow.
Okay, two-part show. That was good.
Oh, this is a good
Man.
You know, one of the spaces, one of the things that fathers, just big picture, always known for is bringing the fun, right? And I think there's all these opportunities for us to kind of let loose and have a good time with our kids, and I hope that that's something we can all really value. So we were excited about opening up with some good jokes and some dad jokes and laffy taffy jokes. I have a 6-year-old, so like she's all about jokes and she's kind of terrible at it, but you know, but like that's the space. So tell me, guys, what is one of the most surprising things you've learned in just being a father?
The most surprising thing that I've learned about being a father is how much I'm having to face my own childhood down again.
Yeah.
Most of the arguments that I've ever gotten into with my daughter's mother, when I really stopped and thought about it after some strong hallucinogens and good weed and some therapy and really starting to figure things out and work through my issues, I realized that those arguments that I'm having with her oftentimes are arguments I'm having with my mother. It's me as a teenager. It's me as a young adult trying to assert my autonomy and my respect through this person because I didn't get it when I was a kid. And now this is my second chance to fix it for my daughter. But until I fix it for myself, I can't navigate those conversations. And so I'm having to grow up twice in order to help her grow up once.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. I know for me, one of the most surprising things is just how similar things are and how much different they are. You know, with how my kid is growing up now versus how I was growing up. You know, because there's so much stuff that's the same, but you know they've been exposed to different stuff. So I'm having to explain things a lot earlier than I thought I would have to explain. So that's one of the most surprising things for sure.
That's major.
How old are your children?
I have a 9-year-old and a 16-year-old, soon to be 17 and 10.
That's the age of my kids.
Yeah, and my teenager is definitely teenaging right now. So y'all pray for me, please. Please.
What about you, Winford?
Yeah, I would say for me, it is the difference between power and authority. I think for me, I wanted to, exert power and certain things. And the reality is, there are a lot of times I don't even feel like I'm in control. So, but recognizing that no matter how it feels, I am still the authority, and that I have to always move in that realm, even when I don't feel like I'm in control of what's going on. And ultimately, to get to a place where my influence is felt more than my power. Like I don't want to force my son to do anything, but I do want to influence him to think, to be able to think, and to be able to understand how to survive in the world. And that's been difficult because I want to just power through, and that doesn't work. So
yeah, I like that. There've been a lot of conversations about like in the parenting space of how because I'm daddy is just no longer acceptable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it does, and really in the long run, that's not like at an earlier age that might have been okay, but at this, my thing is at this phase, my son is about to be 10, but again, I have to my role for him is to teach him how to be able to survive when he's not around me and how to thrive when he's not around me. So because dad said so is not always the response, and I want it to be the response sometimes because it's easier and quicker, but it's like that's not even the best thing that he needs. Sometimes I need to be able to do this in a different way, and as Andrew said, not deflect or reflect my childhood experience on him. But that can be difficult. Absolutely.
I like it. What's up, G?
Yeah, for me, I would have to say the most surprising thing is Okay, you growing up, you have an idea of how you want to be as a parent, and you find out very quickly um, the things that you really wanted to try to stay away from, or I can speak for myself, the things that I wanted to stay away from, I found myself naturally gravitating to. Things that I did not want to bring to parenthood kind of spewed out, and you don't realize how much it's ingrained in you. And so
Mm-hmm.
for me, was just being intentional about or being aware and being intentional and just really just thinking, okay, that's not what I want. How can I change that? You know what I'm saying? For one, how to connect with my kids. Like I wanted, for me, I had to have some type of emotional connection
Right.
that I didn't have. And I kind of found myself early going down that route of not having that. So I had to become intentional. And that's where Donut Friday started, to where I can really connect with my kids, and really have that connection. So just being intentional. And so yeah, it was just surprising how ingrained some of those things that I did not want to bring into parenthood, I kind of brought into just because, you know, you don't realize
No,
how ingrained that those things are,
Right. Yeah.
you know?
I say I totally agree with what he's saying. Kind of in the same realm, I would say, not surprising, but I'll even, be accountable under the fact that a lot of the struggle for me is basically trying not to be the voices that I didn't want to be as a child. You know what I mean? Like there were people you didn't want to go to their house because they didn't let you do this or they wouldn't let you do that. And vocally, because I don't spank, so vocally, my voice raises and I hear myself being, loud and over the top about stuff. And it could be small, but at the same time, it's a learning process and I'm kind of just digging through it and like I said, being accountable for the things that I bring to the table and the things that I need to take off of it. So
I
if
like that.
anything, it's more or less accountability.
I like it.
I'm going to say with me, myself, it's going to be a little bit different. With me, it's more how my kids saved my life. Because before I had kids, I'd done everything I thought I was old enough to do. But then then getting married and then having kids and having someone to be responsible for other than myself. Um, Before I had kids, I was terrified when I was found out I was going to be a father for the first time
Man.
because I know the mistakes that I made, and
yeah,
I didn't want my kids to make the same. But I was also surprised on one how many lessons I've learned because of them and through them, and also my mistakes that I made. I learned from those. I was able to pass those on to my kids, and it surprises that they actually listen. To this day, we can talk about maybe obstacles that they adverted from because they did this. So with me, it was just how much they helped me become a better person and how I can see the best part of me in them. So it's just how to me. So far for me, fatherhood is like a mirror. I can see
Yeah.
me in them, and I can see how as much common sense as I thought that I didn't have, I found out that I actually do have some. I guess trying to pass on lessons and life lessons and things of that nature.
Yeah. I can hear you.
I'll say this question: like, what was most surprising that I had to learn is really understanding what consistency
Right.
is.
Mm.
That was big for me so my daughter's 6 in the space of really understanding. I'm really big and really good at compartmentalizing, right? And so I can do so many different things at once. But being present and being consistently present is something I'm still working on. Like
Man.
it, we were at the park, we were at the park yesterday for the event, and Heaven, gosh, his daughter's there. She's like, hey, are you like, I want to come play frisbee with me. And by the end of the park day, like I had to really recognize that I was so busy trying to manage things that I didn't actually show up to play frisbee with her. And like, that's just that consistency is something that I know that I'm trying to manage. And and when Willow was first born, my daughter was first born. She's 6 now. That was something I actually had to learn and practice on a daily basis, and it was amazing for me to see the real power in us having our routines of like bath, book, bed, and being able like growing into that for the past 6 years of always doing that. And now not being able to do that with her right now because she's in another state is really tough, and that's a lesson that I keep trying to remind myself. And I'm still obviously as of yesterday still working on it. So,
Well, I know that all too well, sir.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
yeah.
I think one of the biggest surprises that I've learned is that sometimes our expectations of what we want to save our kids from aren't even things that they have a desire to even entertain.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Yeah.
I'm being kind of hard on one of my daughters. I'm like, look, you're a leader, reinforcing her sister. Like, we're gonna tell you who you are, but I want you to see you for who I see you for. And she was like, Dad, I can appreciate that, but just so you know, you're doing this because you don't want me to face the things that you face, but you don't even know. I don't even have a desire to face those things.
Ooh, Jesus.
And it hit me because it was like, although I love you enough to be a protector, I'm protecting you from things that I feel like you've already exceeded. And so it allowed me to be able to learn from her.
Wow.
Yeah.
My biggest surprise being a dad would have to be the art of vulnerability.
Mm.
I can remember him being 5 years old. I'm in Penn Square Mall, just walking towards the food court, and I literally feel his little hand reach up to hold mine.
Mm.
And it took everything in me not to fling his hand away.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, I was not hugged until I was 20, headed to Afghanistan.
Wow.
Wow.
So I don't know what it's like to be held, to
Be embraced.
adored, to touch. No idea. Just nothing. I know what it's like to be beat. I know what it's like to be whooped.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to take a punch, but I don't know what it's like for someone to hug me or hold my hand. And now that he's 16, now vulnerability has changed from the holding of my hand to, you know what, even though your mother and I aren't together, maybe I can tell you how your mother was before you were born. What made me fall in love with your mother so much that now you are here? What was life like for me when I was your age? What was I going through when I was with my backpack going through C Hall at Carl Albert High School in 1998? Like, what was that like for me? And how that might just make a difference for him, but I had to see the value in my own life to share it with him.
Wow. That's powerful. That's powerful.
It's good.
Yeah, that's really good.
I think that speaks to a lot of, especially men. You know, we are called to kind of hold it all in and to be strong and be silent and not to share any of those things. And vulnerability hardly ever comes to the table. Then we have children, and society expects us to immediately be these perfect emotional support systems for them. It's crazy. You kind of see that now.
I think that's probably one of the barriers to fatherhood is really trying to capitalize on some of the skills that you never learned. And now you have to show up as something that's totally countered in who you have developed to be in this stage of life. You know, I've dealt with that with my father where being tough was what was needed for that season of his existence to make it through and just survive. And we've kind of taken pride, like I made it, but yo, you breaking down. You know, being vulnerable, especially in our time. Shout out to Facials and Fades. You know, taking our time, caring, you know, to embrace this aspect of life is allowing us to flourish.
What ways do you guys how do you guys centralize and prioritize your own self-care as a man and as a father who, of course, we take on the whole mantle of showing up in all these different spaces? What does self-care look like for you guys?
Well, I think I'll start with this one. Being the self-care connoisseur.
Specialist.
Right. One thing that I make sure that I have to have some type of space to make me where I can de-escalate. You know, whether that is because sometimes self-care is just sitting by myself. Self-care, it looks we hear self-care and we've been trained to think a certain way or narrow-minded, if you will. But I think self-care is many different. There's many different avenues. Self-care could be just sitting by yourself, just having time, 5, 10 minutes where I can just decompress. And I think a lot of us as men, we need that space. We got to have some space where, because it's not that we don't want to be bothered with our families, children, things of that nature, because we all talk about how important that is. You know what I'm saying? But we have to have a space where it's us, where we get time to just kind of, all right, let me get my thoughts together. Let me just give me some time. A lot of times I'll come in and I've been married 18 years now, so my wife knows we kind of have okay, give daddy some time. Or I'll tell the boys, hey, daddy just needs some time. Give me about 10, 15 minutes. I'm right back at you. And communication is key in order for that. But self-care for me is just, man, just having that time to just kind of breathe, de-escalate, and get ready to you know, be be daddy. You know what I'm saying? So that's what self-care looks like for me, uh, for sure. See,
I
you
like
thought I was gonna say facials and face sitting in the chair, huh? Yeah, yeah, y'all thought I was gonna say that? Nah, not for
I
me.
like
But that might be for other guys, and which it is for a lot of guys. They come see me for that time. That space is for them. They'll come see me, get a beard trim, beard wash, whatever it is, king facial, and that's their time. You know what I'm saying? So it looks
Look,
different for different people.
Winford, you better say self care is grooming your beard, bro, because that beard is birdie.
Yeah, no, this is actually me trying to stay relevant because
Pastor birds.
this is now self care for me. Actually, and interesting enough is I try to. There's a spiritual practice called Sabbath. Practicing the Sabbath,
Man.
and I try to do that every week. And sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's half a day, sometimes I have to break it up in a couple of days. But and during that time, it could be reading, it could just be Netflix, it could be me just sitting on the phone with my guys, it could be going to last weekend I just said, hey, Trey, let's go hit some golf balls, and so me and the boys went to hit some golf balls. So it's something sometimes. So it's just something, like G said, just that's where I could de-escalate, where I can slow down, where I'm not fussing at anybody, where I'm not thinking about my
That part.
schedule, where I'm not figuring out what I got to do for the show this week or for who I got to counsel. I know I ain't passed to nobody. That it's just I need that moment
Yeah.
to just do nothing. It's go get me some ice cream, something. So for me, that's what self care looks like. Is every week I have to have some form of Sabbath, and then on days that I can't, that I can't do a full day, it might just be a couple hours, but I have to do that. And then also it's being self aware. One of the things I'm learning to do is to listen to my body. There are some days when I have a bunch of stuff to do that I'm like, hey, I can't do it today, and it's just we just gonna lay in the bed till noon, and
Yeah.
that's gonna be it. And so you just have to. I'm learning to listen to my body a little bit better now that I'm on this side of 40, and trying to prioritize that my body knows when my body needs rest.
Straight up.
Right. Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
uh
And just real quick for me, it's meditation, really, is what
Man.
I was saying. It's my meditation time. So yeah, that's the time I gotta have it.
Absolutely.
I know for me, I really struggle with the whole self-care thing. I'm not even gonna lie or front.
I
It's
was
something that
wondering, bro,
yeah,
because you
it's something.
always want to go.
Yeah, it's something that I've really been working hard on, trying to carve out the time to really do absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Uh, and at times when I do get to self-care, that's what I do, literally just nothing. And it does wonders for me, because sometimes, we get so caught up with the hustle and bustle in life, from business to parenting. Then, as I've come of age, taking care of your parents, making sure they're straight and on top of their health and stuff. And it can be a daunting task. And sometimes you get to going so much, you realize that you've been in overdrive for this extended period of time. And it's like you said, your body started talking to you. You start getting headaches, these random aches, and you're like, damn, what did I do? I'm just hurting for no reason,
Right.
and it's your body trying to tell you you need to relax.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to get better with doing that. Talking to some friends, and it's like, hey, you really should schedule massages like routinely, to kind of help deal with that stress and decompress, and then just take the time to do nothing, because even when you quote unquote take a day off, but you're still dealing with the stuff that you deal on a daily basis, like parenting and stuff, it's almost like it's not a day off. I came to the realization that sometimes when I take days off, it's literally not taking a day off. It's not doing this and putting something else in its place for that day. So I'm notorious for that. So that's something that I'm really, really working on.
Absolutely.
I got to double back on both of what the G's said, because one said that he don't know how to, and the other one said that resting is part of it. But I mean, I was gonna say I rest, and I have my little blunt here and there, but I mean, I'm working on it myself, learning how to give myself some free time, some just downtime, some chill, because I guess whether right or wrong, like as a father, it feels like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. And like on my shoulders, I don't want it to fall. So like if I'm all she got, because I'm single dad, there's no mother over here with my daughter. So like if anything falls, it's on me. So I don't have the time to do that. Like I'm always always on it. Like I really do gotta find a way to chill, but in that same token, I gotta find a way to chill so that it's not like a downtime on her time.
Right. Yeah. That's real.
So I said I have one, but I need like permission to be completely me.
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'm certain.
So my thing is, I like energy. Energy feeds my soul. So I like doing ratchet ass shit with my ratchet ass friends.
On my soul. On my soul.
Hey,
Let's go.
Let's
Let's go, man. Let's go.
That's your self-care.
Hold on, he gotta explain
If
this. Hold on.
nothing you buck come on, like I'm in church. Yeah, Nuck If You Buck is my church. So if I hear that, it's about to be a good day, and that means I can do everything basically that my son's gonna need me to do for that week or that day.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna need young Dolph. I'm gonna need
Come on.
somebody to come through
Come
and
on,
make some
dog.
things.
Let's go. I love it.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was wondering, how do you stay so young? I'm like, girl,
Yes, I'm 39 years old and I go out.
You 39? You 39? I didn't know that. I thought we was the same age. Jeez.
Man, listen, him and Damon, they be killing me. I get up at 3:30 to work out, bro. By the time I get up to go work out, they still out kicking it. How do y'all do it? I don't know. But now I see.
And treat people right.
With me, myself, I know that I'm loud right now, but me, myself, I'm a nerd by nature. So I always find time to read. It's either audio book, I have books downloaded, I have hard copies. Me, as long as I'm learning something, I'm able to decompress. That and cigars.
Yes.
If those of you who don't smoke cigars, you got to. And if you want to, come holler at me.
That's a word, sir. That's
Cigars,
a
Come
word.
holler at you.
Owner and founder of
Cigar.
cigars.
Send me your address.
Yeah. Well, right now we're at Kindred. Setting up, but man, cigars is like a spa. I don't smoke weed, but if I'm able, at least once a day, I smoke me a cigar and a glass of bourbon, and man, that's amazing. And then I'm able to talk to myself about things that I have coming up. Talk to myself about maybe some issues I may have had or some mistakes I may even have done, and talk myself like, okay, well, next time we need to do this, next time we need to do that. But I can always do that over a glass of bourbon and a good stick. So and everybody who knows me knows if I'm smoking my stick, pretty much leave me the hell alone, and I get back to you when I get back to you. But other than that, yeah, bourbon, reading, and a good stick. That's mine.
That's like a title of a good mixtape.
If I feel like I need social energy, then I'll go perform. I'll either go do comedy or I'll go do karaoke or something like that. If I need solitude, then I'm gonna sit at home and I'm gonna paint or do like some arts and crafts or something like that. Maybe watch some Netflix. But what several people have said, I have to agree that one of the biggest things that I started doing is sleeping when I realized that I need rest, because my whole life I've always avoided sleep. I always feel like I'm missing out on something. Even as a kid, like my mom gave me this pillow. It had Bart Simpson on it, and the caption was "Sleeping's for wimps, man," and I live that. Sleep, like, I take pride in not sleeping, and there's a lot of psychotic breakdowns that I've looked back on that if I would have just laid my ass down and went to sleep,
yeah, recharge that battery.
Man,
that would have been fine. All these holes in the damn wall and like all this stress, I'm pulling go to sleep later.
It's funny how that comes full circle, because when you tell your mama or your dad something, they go lay down.
Sleep. Yep, go lay down.
Yeah, you ain't gonna miss nothing. You ain't gonna miss. I'm scared you're gonna miss something. And it was true. We did. That's why we wouldn't lay down. I'm like, nah, man, something's gonna happen. I ain't gonna miss it. Yeah, sleep is real.
And when you do, it be that one touchdown you done missed. So now subconsciously you got this idea: if I go to sleep, I'm gonna miss this damn touchdown, bro.
But I think like when we listen to everyone's answers, that there's this moment where we all have to really understand ourselves better, and that you can't do that unless you spend time by yourself. And
Absolutely.
Because even in those examples of going out and enjoying time with other people, you can't get to that space to know that recharges you if you're so exhausted by being around other people.
Yeah,
like that's been my lesson, because I love being out in the crowd, and I love enjoying space and time with people that I care about who have a great time. But I'm also learning, like recently, that I need to actually recharge, or else none of that even works for me. So I commend you guys for really looking at that space. And I want to know, for those of you who are like in how do you communicate that with the people in your life? Because fatherhood means being up on the horse, and the moment you get off the horse, like you're either not productive, so you're doing something wrong by society standards as a man, or your family is like, hey, I'm glad you're off the horse, so you can fix that and do that and do the other. How do you quickly, if you can, manage to communicate that in a way that it recedes well, so you can actually do the things that you want to do?
So one thing that I do is I remove the cape of super dad. So that whole idea that just because I'm a dad, I'm supposed to be all things to all people at all times, everything all at once, hell no. I'm not signing up for that. Don't put that on me. I'm taking that cape off. Y'all not gonna kill me.
Man,
we're gonna have some real clear conversations around capacity around here. If I'm not able to do it, I'm not able to do it. Someone may look at me, and I've had this happen. I've had people that were connected to either my son or my former wife, and think like, well, Ace is doing this, Ace is doing that. He got to be able to do this. You don't know my life, sir. You don't know my life, man. All you're seeing post, and you get what I give you.
Right.
You have no idea that I've been drinking Jack Daniel bottles for breakfast for the last 3 weeks. And right now, the best I can do is the best I'm doing. So
Right.
being able to have an honest conversation around capacity without feeling like desire to be super dad.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
future.
Right.
Man, I've always
For
looked
me,
at this reality that how can I give you the best if I'm not feeling worthy of giving myself the best of me? You know what I'm saying? And if people feel guilty or try to make me feel guilty, I notice they don't respect healthy boundaries. And if that's the case, there's a whole other conversation that needs to be had.
right. Now for me, is just like I said, after oh man, um, two hardest things that a man ever do is marriage and parenting. Um, and I think some of you guys will back me up on that.
Yeah.
Uh, and a big part of it is communication.
Yeah.
So after learning, you know what I'm saying, trial and error, because a lot of us didn't have the best examples.
Right.
So trial and error, therapy. Oh my God, well, that's a whole nother session that we could have, guys, on therapy and the importance of it. But after all of that, learning how to communicate is just sitting down and just it's really simple when it came down to it. When I really thought about it, was just having a conversation, sitting my wife and my boys down and tell them, listen, I need this time. Give me time. It's just and they will. And all you have to do, because a lot of times we think they should already know. I know thought it for a long time, like they should know. This is my time. I need it, and I never really effectively communicated to them that I need about 10, 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? And when I was able to just say, "Hey, listen, Daddy needs this time. I need this time. Let me recharge. This is what I'm going through. This is kind of how I operate. I promise you, you got Daddy back. Just give me this time."
Yeah.
And they're fine with it.
Mhm.
They're fine with it. We just got to communicate that,
Yeah.
you know? So
That's true.
that's how
Yeah. And
100%.
kind of echo off what G's saying, man, just letting them know that, hey, I need this time for me right now, and then for myself, not feeling guilty for taking that time
Right.
for myself.
yeah. Yeah,
Because
that's real.
we tend to do that a lot. I know I do. Sometimes you just really need that time, then you feel guilty when it's that one time out of a million that you just couldn't come through for someone
Right.
to do something for them because you just exhausted.
Mhm.
So really working with myself to not feel that guilt, but really communicating that. Because sometimes when I'm just blowing and going and blowing and going, is just stuff after stuff after stuff come up. I just really have to say, hey, look, I'm out for the day.
Yeah.
I can't host, I can't do this. Like I ain't gonna be able to swing by. I'm like I'm on this couch all day long. I'm watching
Yeah.
anime. I'm chilling. That's all I
Right.
can do
And you
today.
know what I had to do that guilt? I had to ask, where does that guilt even come from? If it doesn't serve me and I'm holding on to it, where does it come from? Because why would you hold on to something that does not serve you? And what I
Right.
realized is like, yo, your sense of value has come up by how well you show up for others.
Mhm.
Compromise
Mhm.
your sense of self value when you show up for others more than you're willing to show up for yourself.
Hmm.
And
That's
we
good.
people pride ourselves in showing up for people, even if it leads us to an early grave. Like, how destructive is that?
Right.
I'm about to say,
Another.
unfortunately, you're right. I don't really like me personally. I don't really see no other way to operate. Like I'm always gonna try and stretch myself for other people. I mean, I could call it my upbringing because you know people just I've always been nice and outgoing and helping. So I mean, kind of just want to return the favor, or I don't know. Like, but that's a good question. I really don't know why, but I definitely will stretch myself to the end for other people. Like always will, always have, always do.
Man, it's going to be a good conversation. This is why we're doing this, so we can actually
Right.
look at that, evaluate that, and see how that's serving us. Because I think ideally at the core of it is we do want to show up better. We love
Yeah.
our family enough to be able to say, I want to provide you with a greater sense of life so you can go out and have a healthier lifestyle than I had growing up. But that does mean that you are willing to open up opportunities for growth. So
Yeah.
that
And you can't pour from an empty cup.
you just can't.
You gotta be able to refill. And being a dad is not enough to refill you.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think some of that guilt could possibly come from, this false narrative that was created about black men in general,
Boy,
being absent
man,
or
speak
not
on
being
it.
there, or or
Yeah.
not being a man, the man, quote unquote.
Yeah.
So I think some of that guilt can come from that. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what my
Yeah, let me
I know.
go ahead.
It's
I
on
know
the
for,
same.
I know for me, where I know a lot of my guilt comes from two places. Number one, I grew up with a father who was always there, and I didn't see him ever rest. Um, so I think one from there, and then number two, the way my situation is because I'm divorced, and now my son and ex-wife live in Charlotte, North Carolina. That when he is with me, I feel like I always have to be on because I only have a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
So anytime I'm not with him or I'm not giving him my attention or I'm not super dad when he's around, I feel guilty because there's this time when he's not with me and I can't do that. So I have to learn to negotiate this thing of am I really a good dad? Am I really when because if he's not here, then what does this say about me? And so I know for me there's this constant struggle of trying to even discern like even if I'm a good father. Like it's like
Yeah.
whoa, because hell, half the year he ain't here. So it's like who so it's that struggle of okay, but now that he's here, you can't rest because you have all that you do that later. And it's like, no, that's stupid. But it's still this internal wrestle that I have that happens that honestly have to negotiate quite honestly, on a regular basis because I don't know, and because I don't know how he feels, I don't know how I feel. I mean, it's like it's this idea of what a black father's supposed to be, and
Hmm.
and then of course my ego says that I have to be this for everybody else.
Absolutely.
It's like, oh, it's all of that converging
Attention
into
is
one
real.
space.
I have a
Uh,
I have a
that
question to Winfred then.
messing
Okay.
me up, and that's just my honest truth.
Thank you for sharing that, Wayne. That's
Well,
huge.
The question I have is how old is your child?
He's about to be 10.
So my thing is, right around that age, when my son was around 10, I was going through a lot of court stuff, like custody, child support. My son wasn't talking to me, all of those
Mhm.
things. And then a year later, it dawned on me. All these people are saying I'm not a good father. Why don't I just ask the
Ask
person that I'm
him.
the father of?
Yeah, and he doesn't care. He's fine. That's what
Right.
I say. It's
So
me.
Yeah.
It ain't him.
to
It's
see what the
me.
negative, to
Yeah,
see what the
it's
negative, I
me.
keep asking. So Adonis, how can I be a better dad to you? And he's
Yeah,
like, you good. And I'm like, wait a minute.
yeah,
Wait. I'm
That
good.
part. That
Absolutely.
part.
Yeah.
absolutely. And we've had that conversation. He's like, Dad, you're fine. And I'm like, but I'm not. He's like, no, you're fine. And I'm like, okay, am I?
And believe them.
It's me.
Believe them
Yeah.
when they say it.
Right. It's me.
Yeah.
It's not him. It's
Right.
nobody but me. I know it's me.
Right.
So it's just getting over me.
Man.
They're fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody else is like, dude, you're good. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a terrible
Yeah.
father. It's me. I know it's me.
uh,
I think that's where, for me, it is comparing the fact that my dad was there all the time. So I am comparing that situation to mine, and that's not even fair. That's not fair at
Unfair.
all. But I
Absolutely
get it.
unfair.
Yeah, I had to recognize several months ago what I was doing. I'm like, you're doing this. This ain't nobody else. Devil didn't do it. This is you, sir. And so I placed that at my own feet and on my own ego to now I have to deal with that. So, but yeah, you're right. Thank you, Asa. You're absolutely right.
So a couple of things. Rashad said like you don't really know where that necessity comes from to always overextend, even when you know you're overextending. For me, I had the epiphany while I was at work at Amazon that the reason why I overextend for people is because I need to be validated because there's so many things that I wish I was that I know I'm not, but I can't
Mm,
help like I'm not as tall or good looking or rich as I want to be. I ain't got this and I want that, but you know what I can do? I can help, and I've made that my whole identity. And when you find that you can't even help somebody, then what am I now? If I'm not here to help, what now you have a whole existential crisis. So rather than deal with that, I'd rather hurt myself. And once I realized that that's what I'm doing across the board in relationships, at work, where I'm feeling unappreciated, that's why I'm stressed out. I'm stressed because I'm not getting the appreciation that I demand because I've earned it, right? Like I'm doing all this and you're not doing. So here's I don't know if this will help you, but this is how I helped myself. Do I care about that person's outcome, or am I doing this for my ego? Because if I care about that
Good
person's
question.
outcome, when I hold the door open for somebody and she don't say thank you, I'm not bitch.
That part.
Do
Real
that.
talk.
Like I'm just holding the door so the door don't hit this human in the face. But if I'm doing it because I want recognition,
Come
I'm
on,
out.
man.
If I'm helping my homie move on a weekend that I know I'm exhausted and I got to go to work, and I'm helping the homie when I know the homie's got money for movers, the homie's got other people that can help, but I gotta show up so he knows that I'm his friend. That's ego. Go to sleep.
Right, absolutely. Yeah.
Stand. Like you got to start really separating what are you doing because it's the right thing to do versus what are you doing so people
That
think
part.
you're the kind of person.
Listen, and
Right.
that shows up in
That.
fatherhood, right? That
Thank you.
shows up in
Yes,
fatherhood.
it does. And let me just say, oh my God, it was so good when he said that because our my boys are watching me, right? So I had a big issue when I would stop. I'd be in the car, my boys in the car with me, wife, family, everybody, and when I would let people, like when I would stop and let people in, right? And if they didn't wave, if they didn't, hey, recognize the fact that I let them in, I'm like, oh, you sorry. And I would never forget one day, this dude didn't, same scenario, it happened, guys. Didn't let, I didn't even say that. At this point, I wasn't even thinking about it at this point. Like, I didn't even, he didn't win. Oh, my son was like, oh, you sorry. So I was like, oh, it's me. I got to fix me. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man, G, you got to do better.
Yeah.
I'm like, something they watching. They're watching. They really watching. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, why am I really wanting this dude to? Oh, I want recognition.
Right.
I'm not doing this for the right reason. I'm
Right.
not doing this. I'm not letting them out for the right reason. You know what I'm saying? And my boys are watching that. Oh, okay. Let me change that. So now I let them in, whether they wave or not. I wave myself every time. I wave. They might not record. It happened today. I'm rolling today. Boys in the back. Somebody came in. I let them in. They didn't respond. They didn't say hi. They didn't recognize. You know what? It didn't matter. It didn't matter. And the fact that now they're seeing, even though they're not saying nothing, I know one day they'll say, Dad, you know what? You let people in now, and you don't even trip whether they say hi or not. You know what I'm saying? Because subconsciously, I know they're watching me. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It comes back to parent. They're watching us, guys. They are paying attention, and we are doing. You know what I'm saying? And we just gotta not be so hard on ourselves as
Yeah.
well. In the same breath, you know what I'm saying? Being vulnerable with my family was the best thing ever. And like I said, it took the cape off.
Yeah.
Because first of all, who more than anybody knows that we're not perfect? Oh, them kids.
Man, bro.
Oh,
Yeah.
them kids, they
You know
know.
what?
Yeah.
And you know
They
what?
know you ain't got no cape.
It's okay. Man, it's almost some things like the birthdays is coming up, and earlier it was like, man, when I first got my daughter after going to fight, cussing, all that stuff, it was like this desire to try to make up for all this lost time. Because it's like, man, I didn't have a father growing up. I never want you to feel like you have to measure up because of that. And I've seen
Right.
it with one of my daughters that live in Texas. Like she feel like she got to compete against her sisters, and I'm like, baby, you don't have to do that. Like I love you because of who you are, but I understand it for myself having to do certain things. I feel like I have to overwork to compensate. When she's like, yo, I just want to go to the park. I went to go visit my daughter in San Antonio, right? And I'm like, I'm just to blow a bag on her because the other girls is bougie. You know what I'm saying? She's like, yo, we can go down to this park that's like Japanese flowers, Dad. It's amazing. You don't even got to spend money on me. But I've also been to the mall with her where I want to spend some money and she feels guilty about it. Because she's like, yeah, I'm not used to having that. And so being able to balance like what I see fit as an ideal father versus let me meet you in your world to
That part.
balance
Yeah.
what makes you feel special And they had to give me permission to say, you know what, you can really let your expectations go.
Yeah, they'll do that for you. Your kid, like, and I'm talking to, some of you guys, we've had conversations like this, personally, but like to the guys who are watching this, there is so much power in allowing your children to tell you who they are and what they need. And being
Yes.
honor that is really what gets you, honestly, a big part of what we're looking for, which is to know that our kids love us and they see us and they appreciate us. Like my little one's 6, and right now we usually, this time we're spending right now is the time that we usually spend on our video chats. And when I tell you, people look at us kind of crazy sometimes if I happen to be around other people, because we may just be sitting there looking at each other, or me looking at a blank screen because she's just off screen playing or singing a song or doing whatever it is in that moment. And for some people, they look at it and they're like, well, y'all not even engaging. You're not this, that, and the other. Or you're supposed to.
But you are.
Like, this is how she is engaging with me right now.
Yeah.
Because if you watch long enough, she'll come back and she'll have a conversation about something that just happened. And if I'm not paying attention to whatever is happening there, I can't engage. So listening and letting them guide you into how to best be there for them is golden.
Right. Listen, we used to do video chats where she drawing bubbles around my eyes. Fam, this is not a conversation. She done drew like a little booger in my nose. She cracking up. But hey, this is what intimacy looks like to you. Like this.
Absolutely, man. And just like with Donut Fridays, I told y'all, man, when we did the podcast, the first 5 years, my boys are 15 and 13 now, right? We started when they were 6 and 4. So every Friday we go get donuts before school. So it's a thing. We've been doing it for, man, over 10 years now. And the first 5 years, fellas, when I tell you I was animated out, that's all these dudes talked about. Anime,
Hey, I love
which
anime.
I thought I do too. I thought I did. Until now these dudes took it to another level. Like they took it to a whole nother level. Like I was with them for a little. Okay, Dragon Ball Z. Okay, Hunter X. Now these dudes talking about this. They talk Sensei and Zuze and all these other. And I'm listening to them.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Like and that's all they wanted. But that is all they wanted, guys. It was 30 minutes of talking about anime. They was good. Daddy, I'm the best daddy in the world. Because I
I'm sorry, G. I can't do it. I'm tired of Beyblades. I'm so sick of Beyblades. I'm so sick of Beyblades already.
Hey, you gotta be sick of them. Hey, Winford, you gotta be sick of them, bro. But this just part of it.
Hey, listen.
You get me this? I'm like, bruh, I just bought you 14 Beyblades. Why you need more Beyblades? But I'm laughing because when I was this age, it was G.I. Joe or something like that. So I'm like,
Transformers. Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
At least y'all kids gonna want to play golf.
I feel like as adults, what we forget is because they're the kid.
Hey, your son want to play golf? Oh, I'm sorry, Andrew. Go ahead.
They want the same things that we want on the most part. They want to be heard. They want to be respected, just like we do. And like coming from the upbringing that I came from, it's like kids go sit down somewhere, like speak spoken to, like we treat them like a nice human. And it took a lot of girls that I dated over the years that actually broke me out of that when they'd see me be wrong and not apologize. Because, well, I'm an adult, and what am I apologize to a kid for? No, you were wrong. Apologize. Hey, you just said something that hurt her feelings. Apologize. Like it took me realizing that her mother makes probably triple what I make. So she's intensely the better provider. She owns a home now, or she's deep in her career. I can't relegate myself to just being the disciplinarian. I needed to really look at what she really needed. What is she actually lacking that I can provide? Substance, emotional support. She doesn't get that from her mom. Not really. Like that's one of the ways that she's not getting it at home. So I had to learn how to be that for her. One of the things that you guys keep talking about that I agree wholeheartedly with is being vulnerable, dropping the facade, not pretending like you're just this heroic, stoic beast of when that's not what you really are, perhaps. Like one of the things that really solidified my relationship with my daughter recently was the first time I allowed myself to cry in front of her.
Wow.
And because she had started lying, she had gotten on this kick about just lying, like would lie to my face so believably that I know she's lying, and I'm still second guessing myself. Like, am
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I? I had to keep it down, and she was committed to the lie too. And I finally, when I decided, okay, I need to really address this for real, I was like, look, kid, there's, I will love you forever because you're my father. You're my child. I'm your father. But we're not friends. We'll never be friends. We can be friendly. We can have conversations. We can have fun. But I'm your father. You're my daughter. I will love you forever. But there's two things that you can do that I won't fuck with you ever again. I don't care that you're my kid if you lie on me. You say to somebody that I did something that I didn't do, and I have to catch flack for it. When I survive, we're done. You keep lying to my face about things, I won't be involved with you on a personal level because I don't keep liars in my field. And that goes for you too, because I've been hurt too many years by too many people that have lied to me over the years. So I don't respond to it well. So I'm not going to be able to be in the headspace that I can be the dad that I want to be if I can't believe anything you say. And while I'm talking to her, these emotions are coming up, and I cried while I'm talking to her. And at first, instinct, oh, don't cry, you know what? No, she needs to see this because this is how I feel. And when I cried, mind you, we've had this conversation before multiple times. Stop lying, stop lying. I'm honest with you. Stop lying to me. She kept lying, but after I cried, she started to cry. I said, "Why are you crying?" And she said, "Well, I knew that lying was wrong, but I never knew that lying hurt you."
Wow.
And I won't lie to you again. And to this date, to my knowledge, I haven't caught her in lie.
Right. That part.
One, two things happen. She either got better at it or she's being honest with me. And the last thing I'll say, I don't want to dominate the floor, but I feel it's important to say, um, I've learned to not put my expectations about what kind of person I want her to be on her and keep those.
Yeah.
I found myself doing that a lot. Now I see a lot of the ways that she's walking in my negative footsteps, and I remind her, you want to keep working hard like I do and have nothing to show for it. Like, and keep being lazy now. I didn't invest the time when I was young to grow into the person that I could have been sooner. So if you want to be a good person, you want to be a bad person, I don't care. Just be good at the kind of person you decide to be. You want to be a criminal? Be a good criminal. That's work too.
It's terrible. God.
Lazy. That's all I care
You
about.
just want to be the best.
You decide to do.
That's real.
I can dig it.
I've been listening. I think I might have some of the oldest kids. My kids are 20. My oldest is 26. My youngest is 14. I have 3 in college, 1 out of college.
You got me beat.
What's helped me? First of all, I had to learn to be a better person to myself because I can't be anything to anybody until I was better to myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I allowed my kids to see that I am human. And as I learned, I tried to expound whatever knowledge I did learn at the time onto them. And what's helped us, all 4 of them, is I taught them that whatever is going on the external, it first showed up on the internal.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are around people who are petty and jealous and this or that, there's something internally and within you that's drawing that to you. If you're around, if you saying like, "Hey, I'm not good enough," are you thinking I'm not good enough? I'm not this or that. You have issues on the internal that until you fix the internal, the external won't present itself. So my kids are in college now. Now they're seeing a lot of the friends or quote unquote friends that they thought they were making. I'm like, I keep telling them, first of all, you haven't even met your best friend yet. Right now, they're all associates. They're all associates, people you know. Just because people are friendly doesn't make them friends.
Man.
So, but they want to, they're like, well, I want to fit in. Like, you're trying to fit in with other people because you're not comfortable with who you are right now.
Yeah.
I said, and so they're learning now, to spend time with themselves, get to know them. said, because until you really get to know you, you're not able to be a good person to anybody else. Yeah. It's like until I was able to find out who I was, I can't be a good father. I can't be a good friend. I can't be anything because I'm not true to myself. So until I'm true to myself, I can't be true to anybody else. And so with my kids that are in college, I have 2 in OU and 1 in Georgia State. And I talk with them on a daily basis. I'm not talking, I'm texting.
Yeah.
It's with being fatherhood, it's more of being, you have to be accountable to yourself.
Right.
In order to, and then once you're accountable to yourself and you're honest with yourself, the kids pick up on that. If you're full of shit, your kids know you're full of shit.
That's right.
So with me, ever since my kids were born, I have been dead honest with them. If they ask, why is the grass green? Well, because of chlorophyll. It's because, this and that. Why is the sky blue? The sky isn't really blue, but that's the light that you see. I never BS answers with them. If I didn't know, I looked it up. But I was I never baby talked them because, life isn't going to allow you sometimes. I allow them to be a kid, but, it's going to be, with me, they know it's going to be 100% honesty as much as I can be.
So Demetrius, I want to know from a couple of perspectives, how do you manage with different conversations, not just with the kids? Because we're in a place of authority a lot of the times, and depending on their age, there are just certain things we can't talk about. But how do you guys manage with like navigating the village?
Absolutely, because we've heard different perspectives. You might have a belief system, and your co-partner or whoever you're asking might have a totally different belief system. You may have parents that may have different belief systems than what you have inside your household. So now they have all of these other different belief systems that they have to navigate within the village.
Well, I told them to be true unto themselves, because what you're talking about, my ex-wife and I do have different belief systems. She's more religious, I'm more spiritual. But I told them to do what makes sense to them. I don't want anyone to tell you, believe this way because with me, it's whatever conversation we're having, be it good or bad, I go in with the mindset of what's the outcome that I'm trying to do. So with all outcomes, I want them to be better for the conversation. I want them to try to learn something. Because I had to speak with them about hard. I was molested as a kid. Right. I told them about that. So if anything goes on, let me know, because I'll know how. I'm saying I've been through it. So and to my knowledge, none of my kids have been. But I had that conversation with them, hey, this is what happened to me when I was young, and I was too scared to say anything. I want you to know that it's not, that you can talk to me about whatever.
Appreciate that, fellas. Ray J, you talked about even being a custodial father in the space. How do you navigate that when, of course, there are other people, family members, and other spaces where we can't just be a father in a silo? What does that look like for you?
Well, with me, because of the
Demetrius, that's Ray J, my guy.
Oh, I'm sorry. What, me?
So I was asking my brother Ray.
Oh, okay. My bad. I keep having cars bad. My bad. I'm a mute myself. Hold on.
Bro.
Man,
he's about to give you the whole gospel just now. Turn to Proverbs 21:16.
He was ready. A work in progress is what it looks like. Especially with a 7-year-old daughter. We're about to turn 8. Whoop, whoop. But it's hard, man. Like, as small as people think, like, there is no woman to swap out. So when we go in the store and she got to go to the bathroom, then what? It's her and daddy. Or we on the road, I'm from Chicago. We drive home. She got to go potty or anything like that. Her and daddy. So, I mean, like, it's man, it's a for real adjustment. It's a for real. I had to like a lot of my buddies would tell you I unplugged myself so much that like I'm not outside like that. I'm pretty much on the couch all the time. Like I've just totally unplugged and my life is her life. If it ain't taking her somewhere, then I'm pretty much not doing it. Not to say that she's my convenient excuse to not do anything that I don't want to do, but she definitely comes in handy because I ain't been nowhere I don't want to go. I ain't done nothing I don't want to do. And I always say, y'all already know what I'm on. I'm doing daddy time. And they be like, I got you, bro. I got you. And that's it. Like nobody questions it. So I mean, it's a work in progress. It's learning. It's hard as hell, but it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Like,
I say with the whole village approach, it's I like it, and I think I navigate it pretty well because sometimes there's certain people who can get through to your child in a way that you can't, and they
mm,
can teach them some things that they need to know, that they may be more susceptible of accepting that from them rather than you because you are their parent. You know,
Mhm.
yeah,
I've been there before where my son is, "Oh, I don't want to talk to dad about this because for whatever reason, you know, but it's easier to open up to a family member, a cousin, or aunt, or uncle, or something to have that conversation. And that's the part where we have to, swallow our pride, swallow our ego, and let that happen because the outcome is them getting some stuff that they need that's going to be
yeah,
useful for them in their lives. So,
I like
I that's one way that I've navigated. And then, on the flip side of that, sometimes it is some things that you like, hold on now. I don't really condone this. So it's like you guys say, you have to really look at what would the outcome of this be, not because, oh, well, I was raised, well, we don't do this or we don't do that. But why? What is the outcome going to be? Is the outcome going to be something good or beneficial for them? Then we might have to fall back and uh, unlearn some of that stuff that was
absolutely.
ingrained in us, like you were saying earlier. Unlearn some of that because it's not helpful.
Yeah,
And I kind of hate that. I see it now. That's my kid. Don't nobody tell my kid nothing. If they need to know it come from their mom or their dad, I hate that because
yeah,
I feel like you put your kid at a disadvantage
right,
I'm
because
in
we
a
don't know
box.
everything. We don't know. And sometimes we don't know what we truly don't know.
absolutely.
And so we kind of put them at a disadvantage. So I definitely don't mind the village approach. Like if my kid is doing something and he's out of line, then you can. I don't want you putting your hands on them per se,
Um,
but you could correct them. And then make me aware of what's going on as well. And I'm gonna reiterate, like, yeah, absolutely.
yeah. It's
You were doing something you wasn't supposed to be doing,
Right,
and
right.
yeah. I think it's important that we also really understand that we want a village that allows our children to see the world, right? Because
Mhm.
if they only see one narrow sliver of what people look like or who
Yeah,
they're supposed to be, we're not preparing them to show up in a world that is bigger and more grand than they ever could have imagined. And so making sure that our village is representative of a space of inclusion and a space of respect for everybody, no matter who they are and how they live their lives is really, really important. And that's
Right.
you can't raise them in a fishbowl, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And can we kind of piggyback or go back to what Andrew was talking about? I would like to talk about vulnerability a little bit because I have a similar story as far as the first time and the only time I've ever cried in front of my oldest son, who's now 15. Um, and it just kind of happened, kind of like Andrew, what you were saying. It just I didn't mean to do it. It just happened, and it was concerning him. He was getting in trouble in school, like not living up to really what he is capable of doing, and and the person that I know he could be. And as I was talking to him, these emotions just came out. And at first, Andrew, I'm with you. I was like, nah, man, I'm not gonna cry. No, no, I was, and then I thought to myself, no, you never seen your father cry, and this is important. This is a moment he needs to see, and he saw it, and I am Superman to him. I am one of the strongest man he knows. I am that. But for him to see me be vulnerable was big, And this was probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And he still talks about it to this day.
Yeah.
He'll say he brought it up a couple months ago. He was like, Dad, man, that really messed with me, man, when you cried, man. He was like, he was like, I didn't think you was capable. But it was big. And I said, son, but that's what I want you to know though. And that's the one of the reasons I allowed myself to be vulnerable in front of you to let you know it is okay to cry. It is okay because he's one of those ones that, he's he's me, that mirror. You know what I'm saying? And so it was very big and important and instrumental in his life, and more importantly, mine as well,
Right.
to
Yeah.
be able to be that vulnerable,
Man,
to let him know it's okay. Like that's big. So that vulnerability is something that is really, and it has to be natural, of course. You don't want it forced, but it just happened, so it needed to happen. And I didn't stop it from happening when those emotions came through. So that's what I want to kind of just tell Andrew, like, dude, I know what that's like.
I got a question
And
for y'all. Have you all ever shared with your family when you feeling stressed out? I forgot, we got a whole like people watching and asking questions. But
oh,
somebody
okay,
asked
yeah,
questions. Have you ever shared with your family when you've been stressed out?
absolutely.
Ace is saying yes.
Go ahead, Ace.
So, one fatherhood experience. It happened right after I was in court. I had, even though I was technically Asa Laveau, I was literally Uber driving around Oklahoma City and could not afford a lawyer to support me in court. That day, on an Uber, remember y'all, I've been Ubering for like 3 months. So the court documents I give to the judge is that I'm Ubering. They said, based on my past experiences, they said that my potential income, yeah, y'all heard that right. My potential income
Wow.
suggested that I should have a child support monthly of $1,100 a month.
Oh, oh my
Wow.
God. Oh
And
my.
and
Ooh,
and since we were divorced maybe 4 or 5 years prior to that, that it went all the way
potential.
back to the
Hold
date
on,
we
hold
were
on, hold
not
on, hold on.
divorced.
Hold on. Your child support was based on potential income.
Potential?
It's in the court documents, potential income.
Hey.
Because they
Then
figure they
it
know
like
who you are.
then I
They basing it
immediately
off your popularity or something.
Did they Google
Like, I
you?
mean, I'm not even being funny, but they'll do that. Like I get what he's saying, but like for real, if they can find out that you slick popular, they're gonna use that against you.
yeah, that
Whoa.
and I've had wonderful
Ooh.
positions at defense contracting jobs in the past. And then they put me out of, so that day I left with I came into court with no debt. I left with 1,105 years back of arrears, which means I'm leaving with $15,000 I owe that day plus 1,100. I,
God.
and I'm by
Damn.
myself. No one is
Ooh.
there with me. So when people talking about doing daddy shit, everybody want to be a daddy until it's time to do daddy shit.
Man.
Damn.
So I leave the court. The first person I called my mama. I said, so how about this? I'm done with this whole daddy shit. I'm done. I'm cool. If they need to take my son, they take my son. If they just want him away from me, if I'm supposedly that bad of a dude, fuck it, I'm out.
Yeah.
And it took her and three other individuals to let me know, Asa, your ability to provide for your son in that way that was court mandated is not the totality of what he needs from you.
Mm.
Being a dad is not only what the court says you owe, the court says you need to do, because if you give up your rights to as a father, you will, as Jan Van Zandt says, you will leave a hole in his heart the size of
Mm.
you.
Mm.
Yes.
Real talk.
Literally.
That's
That
good.
is the only thing that allowed me to stay in the moment. Point blank, period. So I know all about this for real.
I love it, bro. I love it. Thank you for sharing
No,
that, Jason.
Now that's
I know.
stress.
I about to say. I know for me, uh, when I was going through feeling the grunt of losing my wife, losing show, uh, and trying to keep the business going while in a major position at OU where I was working there. Really trying to hold all the pieces together. I was just going with my cape on, kind of like Asa said, um, until stuff just started, kind of falling apart a little bit. And then I just had to really be honest with myself. And then I'm like, look, I am completely overwhelmed. I'm stressed. And to be honest, I hadn't really even gave myself the opportunity to grieve my brother's death and my sister's death, who died just not even a full year. And then Show passed away.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's all of this stuff that's built up, and I'm just literally going through the motions right now, and it's that situation critical, to the point where I'm losing weight, can't sleep at all. So I just had to be real then, with the people who are closest to me. Like, I'm sinking,
Yeah.
and I'm fighting to keep my head above water. And to everybody, is, man, you're doing an amazing job. You're looking great
Right.
doing this, man. You ain't missed a beat. You ain't done this, but internally, it was just it's just like they say, you see that car that look real good, got the rims on it, nice ass paint job and all that, and the motor
Right.
and the insides of guts just trash, just not no good. And that was me. I look real good sitting up there parked, but you start me up and get the running, you'll see that all my lights on my dashboard was on, all
Yeah.
of them, and I had to
A
park
good
it.
analogy.
Yeah, I had to park it and get in the shop and get tuned up. And really, the most important part of that is admitting that I was overwhelmed and super stressed out, and
Yeah.
then allowing myself to feel that sadness and everything that I was going through, instead of trying to fill my life up with my daily endeavors to not address that. Because at the end of the night, when the show's over and they rolling credits, you gotta face yourself, man, and have to face
Man.
yourself, and there's no running from it, and I had to go through that, and I came out on the other side with a new outlook on life, on parenting, on relations, on my business stuff, just
Yeah.
everything in general, you know. But I first had to admit that I'm
Yeah.
overwhelmed. This is a lot. This is, in other words, too much for me at this moment, and I need help.
Bro, can I say I'm proud of you? Can I
Appreciate
say
that.
that? I'm proud of you, bro. Like, I've always admired your resilience
Yeah.
and how gifted and how talented you are and how you put your best foot forward to give other people your heart. And even overcoming things that's too much.
Mhm.
I think in life we take pride in being resilient, but there's also power in saying, man, this is too much.
Yeah,
Man.
absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I think through the pandemic, I've seen two of my friends commit suicide.
Man.
One that really hit me hard was my friend. He called me to have lunch. He called me to have lunch to do a business plan for him, and he was in custody with his daughter. He was excited, like, bro, when I get through this custody battle, I'm gonna have my daughter. You didn't help me do my business plan, and he was fired up, bro. And then I seen on Facebook he had passed away. And so I've seen this situation where it really does take a lot of strong leaders who give their best foot down, and we don't expect it. But I'm proud that you was able to recover. You had friends that was in your corner that was able to really support you in that, and that you were able to come back even stronger because you have so much value to give, bro. You're a life changer, and
I
I believe
Real
appreciate
that.
talk.
that, man.
So I
Fact.
I
appreciate
appreciate
that.
that.
I echo that.
Yo, this we talked about how part of what our mission is modern manhood, and even more particularly in this conversation now is we want to expand the perspective of what manhood and what fatherhood looks like. And a big part of that expansion is to understand that the idea of being a survivor as a man is totally different than being a survivor as a woman. And not to shift the focus to women,
Right.
but we want fathers, we want families, We want people to understand the realities of what we go through and what we survive, because being here, still being able to be here for our families and for ourselves is not as easy as society would have us believe and even try to show, you know, our validity in it. So I commend all of you brothers for all the things that you have survived, and we look forward to the thriving, because that's what we're committed to. I love you, brothers.
Let's go, man. Let's go.
Thank you.
Real talk. Appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Because it's real out here, man. It really is real. We don't get, man, that whole, the cape, wearing the cape is just, it's the biggest facade that we could ever put on, man. You know, I'll use an example. There was a time, because I'm a bit of a nerd myself, as y'all can see. I got all my Black Panther stuff, man. My brothers, I am, man. I'm that dude, man. Because when I was young, we couldn't afford. I couldn't afford comic books. I couldn't afford action figures. So, man, that's part of like what I do now. And with that being said, when I was young, well, I mean, when my kids were young, I worked in the evening. I worked 3 to 11. So Daddy was always gone that night when they went to bed. So I would call them, you know, before, you know, they went to bed and tell them good night and all that. Well, the boys, I said, we had drove by something, and it's like the little manhole in the ground. It's like one of the big ones, manholes downtown. And I told them, I said, you know what, y'all, I gotta be honest with you, Daddy's really Batman. And them dudes really thought I was Batman for like 3 years. Them dudes really thought, hey, Jalen, we drove by one the other day, and Jalen was like, Dad, we really thought you was Batman. We really thought you was Batman. And I say all that to say this. The facade can only last for so long.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it just got to the point. I remember the day Jalen was like, Daddy, you ain't really Batman, are you? And I just busted out laughing. I busted out laughing. I was like, no, I ain't Batman. He was like, but we can only, the facade lasts for so long.
Yeah.
Just like Demetrius was saying, man, like you can only put that up for so they know when you full of shit. They really do. Like I said earlier, don't nobody know the truth about you like your family, and especially them kids.
Yeah.
They know it ain't, there's no fooling them. You know what I'm saying? They know when something's wrong. They know when you stressed.
Yeah.
They know they feel the shift in energy. You know what I'm saying? They're not, Daddy, you okay? You all right? It's sometimes my kids be like, Dad, well, you kind of tripping a little bit. They at that age where they can, you know, and I'm just like, you know what, you're right. Daddy let me go. Let me go chill. Let me go get myself together. You know what I'm saying? But just having that space, like we gotta be real. We gotta be real with ourselves and understanding when we are stressed, we have to get to a point to where we can de-escalate. You know what I'm saying? It's very, very important. And we just, man, like I said, I commend everybody on here as well, man, because we all, nobody's perfect. We just, there's no handbook on this parenting thing.
Yeah.
Like there is no handbook on it. You know what I'm saying? You thought, I know I thought for a long time, man, okay, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. Shit. Them little jokers will push you in a way that you didn't know. That you, especially because I think for those of us that have multiple kids, we got one of them. That's us. We got one of them. That's us.
Hey, there won't be a handbook for parents until you write the Donut Friday book.
Hey man, it's happening, bro. Listen, bro, don't do me. Come on, man. I got you. It's happening. Matter of fact, I got 4 chapters done on the adult book, but you know what I'm saying? That children's book is gonna be the one.
Yeah.
So
no lie, my manual when I first started being a father was The Art of War. I
Oh wow.
Hey,
hell?
Yes.
Oh man.
I'll tell you specifically what my biggest takeaway was as far as using that as a manual for parents. It's not like I had any examples. My father wasn't around. But my mama was one of them people that there was no village that she would listen to. There was a village that would speak, There was no village that she would listen to. That's my child. And there's a lot of moms that are like that. So she didn't take input. So I ended up not having really any examples because once potential male figures, male role models would see she ain't trying to hear nothing, then they would not participate. So I had a lot of men in my orbit, none around, not really, not in any meaningful way, not in anything that I actually learned something that didn't come in a real toxic message most of the time. So I needed something. I needed something. And when I read it, it wasn't intentional. I didn't check out the book. Like I think this is how I'm gonna parent. No, but I read the book and one of the messages was how if you the short version is if you give instructions to your soldiers and those instructions are not followed, you need to evaluate where your instructions clear. Your instructions need to be brief and they need to be clear. Don't give a list of things, they'll get overwhelmed. Short and clear. If it was not, then it's your failure as a commander. If it was understood and they disobey, then it is their failure as soldiers, and the punishment needs to be immediate and severe. And stuff like that. And that goes again with the counselor, counselor I had. He said that one of the biggest mistakes that parents make when they punish their kids is it's not really punishment, it's revenge. Your kid pissed you off, and so you want to hurt them back. He said that you got to make sure that your punishment makes sense first of all, but also that it's brief, because having it in the corner for an hour, that's not effective. They forget. I used to spank, and this is how do you justify hitting a human when you don't want to be hit? Like, and I kept saying, well, I grew up getting whoopings, and if they don't respect you, then like all the rigmarole that we all use to defend spankings if you defend spankings. I was on stuff. Well, my kid's a lot more obedient than yours. I kind of think y'all have conversations with your kid. I say what I gotta say, and my kid does it. So I feel like I'm doing the right thing. Well, when I combine what I learned in the art of war, when I combined what I learned in therapy, and when I combined one thing that she said to me, Akami, she said, "You tell me then." When your daughter meets a man when she grows up and he hits her because he loves her and just needs her to understand that this won't happen if she does what he says. Just like her father used to say, you would want to kill him, wouldn't you? So you tell me, make it make sense. If you can make it make sense to me, then I will support you in your ability to hit your child. At what point do you decide that she's too old to now get hit? At what you decide that it's not okay for you to abuse this human being anymore, and then want to hurt somebody else who does the exact same thing that you grew up doing with her. And when he said that, I was like, I can't justify it anymore, and I haven't spanked her again. Now she doesn't know it's off the table. I need she don't know that it's off the table, but it's off the table. But I tried to show her mom, because she's got other siblings too. She's got one older brother, one baby brother, and a baby sister. I can go to their house. I don't have to raise my voice. I don't have to scream. I don't have to hit anybody. They will get it together, because when they fail, I took the art of war. The punishment is brief, but it's severe. Like I will make you guys do a terrible workout. I'm talking burpees until till I get sick of watching them do it. And then they get right back in order. Like being able to take feedback, I think, is the biggest challenge, not because it's hard to find people that know what they're talking about, but because we put judgments on people. You ain't got no kids. What you telling me something for? Somebody commented, that some of the people on this panel even aren't good fathers, whatever that means to people. And it's like when you stop the labeling, when you stop inserting your own ego, when you stop with the facades that you've learned to believe are true, and you start really treating your children, your spouse, yourself like a fallible human being that you are, everything else starts making a lot more sense, and we don't need a manual exactly. It's the life that we live is our manual.
I like it.
Thank you for that, Andrew.
I
Thank you for
like
sharing
it, bro.
Listen, we're going to ask one more question as we wrap up. And this one, I think this rolls right into that space when we talk about manual. And I want you guys to share your number one parenting skill or advice from your own experience as fathers.
Go ahead, Glenn.
Okay. I would say one of the biggest things I learned is this to listen more and talk less. Because sometimes we don't have to ask certain questions that if we just listen, they're telling us what it is that we're seeking to know, you know. And if you just like really pay attention, like you probably get all the answers you need without even asking questions. You know, and that's one of the biggest things for me. And me and Dr. Williams was actually having a conversation the other day, and I was telling him how I was talking to my son, but one of the things that I make sure I do is hear him out, hear what he has to say, even if it's the stupidest shit I've ever heard in my life. I still listen to him because they say some pretty stupid stuff. You like, really? But allowing them that space to express themselves and be heard, and then try to see it from their perspective. Because sometimes they say stupid stuff, but his way of thinking, I can see why you see it like that.
Right.
You know. So now this is what we call those teachable moments. Now let me help you look at it a different way, so you can understand why this is probably not something that you should continue doing. And they tend to pick up on things better that way, you know. And so then the lines of communication is open, so they feel more confident in coming to you with different things at different situations, or even admit that they messed up, you know, after so long. I think you said it earlier, Andrew, also is apologizing when you were wrong, when you weren't right, when you made the mistake, when you might have assumed something that it wasn't. Apologizing to them, that goes a really long way, especially with that respect thing. And I see, and I've heard people say, I ain't got to apologize. That's my kid. That's my child. That's a kid. I ain't got to know. You really should, because we're modeling how to have great relationships, not just with father and son or father and daughter, but girlfriend, boyfriend, friend, anything. You're modeling how to have a successful relationship or a good relationship. So you have to consider all those things, you know.
Thank you for that. So that's definitely a number one skill is that's real life. Give me some more number one parenting skills, fellas.
My number one would be remembering. What I mean by that, a lot of times we don't always remember what it was like to be little. Like seriously, we don't remember. What is it? What do you remember when someone bigger than you was yelling at you, hitting you, not present, belittling you, making you feel ashamed? All of those things mattered. And we were once made to believe, a lot of us, especially Black men, that when we spoke up for ourselves, that it did not matter. And who would we think we were to request autonomy? Seriously. And if we just remembered that, we would do just so much better to empathize and see ourselves in our children. And then the second part of your question, as far as manual's sake, I will ask all of you all, like all of you all, to watch Transcendence. Transcendence is a multi-episodic film on Amazon. I believe it might even be on YouTube, but I believe from episode 3 forward, they actually speak towards about raising children, what your core responsibilities are, and what you are not responsible for. Because I mean, hopefully we get to the point of Demetrius's point, having grown children, and then we have people that might want to blame us for things. And guess what? We ain't got to own that shit. Like we don't have to own it. But it's all about just understanding what's available for us at every stage.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Asa. Thank you.
Mine was honesty. honesty has helped me in more ways than not. When my kids know that I've always been honest, they're more apt to not only listen to me but believe what I say. Because my one thing, like, if they ask something, I always ask them, okay, when's the last time I was wrong? So if my track record has always been honest, so when I talk to them and I try to teach them something, even though they may not understand it at the time, because I've been honest in past, they're more apt to hear me out, and that's all I really want. Just hear me out, and then you're like I said, mine are grown, so you can take or leave what I'm telling you, but know that I'm being honest with you. And nowadays, honesty is a rarity. So because of that, they do tend to listen to me a lot more than others, especially their peers and whatnot. Like, hey, I might not tell you what you want to hear, but I'm going to tell you what I feel you need to hear, and it's going to come out of love and honesty. So that's honesty is my biggest thing that I've tried to use.
Yeah, thank you for that.
So you didn't teach your kids about Santa Claus and the Easter Bunny. You've been honest your whole life.
Nope. My kids don't know about Santa Claus, Easter Bunny, and a whole lot of other stuff. We even had talks about, and this is going to be taboo for some, but Jesus being white and all that, and all of that. Because y'all have to know that I'm raised. My mother's a Black Panther, and we moved to California and all of that. So I was raised by a Black Panther, so I didn't have a lot of BS in my life. So I couldn't give it to my kids because I didn't have it in my life. So yeah, I robbed my kids of Santa Claus. I'm an asshole. I'm sorry.
We appreciate your honesty, my brother. Ray Chan, talk to us, man.
I would say probably something that I learned for real, or some information that I can give, is kind of just what you want isn't important. The kids' wants are important. Like I know we talked about not wanting to do stuff and not wanting to stand up, but a lot of times in our not wants, we make our kids kind of miss stuff because we did take that time to ourselves. And I mean, I'm not saying that to say don't take the time to yourself, but when it becomes more of a yourself and what you think and what you want to do and how you want to move, as opposed to how it affects the kid. I don't know. I feel like it kind of just needs a little readjustment there. Because I mean, like, again, I don't want to say that we shouldn't have our time and we shouldn't, time out and get that relaxation, but just a good healthy mix of the two, I would say.
I'm hearing Donnell mentioned sacrifice. He just said that, and having a good understanding and a respectful understanding of what your sacrifice is for your kids is going to be really important. Because you got to be accountable for that.
Let me take it back. Not sacrifice, but investing. And I'll say the reasons. I've seen people where their kids really need something, and they're not securing things as they should. They're not being responsible, so to speak. So I've seen kids suffer when parents are doing all this extra stuff for themselves, where the kids can really use that. You know what I'm saying? 100%, bro. I think we need more accountability. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Oh, sidebar. I just also one last thing, real quick. I just want to say, hey, Asa, that's a bad hat, brother.
Bro.
That's all. I just had to throw that in there real quick. Hey, that's a clean little hat there, brother.
Hey, listen, Asa be fly, bro. I told Asa this one day. I was like, yo. So I wore this fit today because I was looking at something he was wearing, and I thought it might have been a razzle dazzle. And Asa was like, "Who, me, bro? I swear he act like he don't know he be fly."
Yeah, stop that, Ace. You the fashion king over there, brother. For sure. But for me, honestly, the one thing that I think, the bit of advice that I would have, man, is, that I'm really skilled at, is just creating that space for my children. You know what I'm saying? To be able to be honest, so we can have those conversations where they can have my undivided attention, where they can drive the conversation. They know every Friday in between 7 a.m., 8 p.m. Now it's the summer, so it's all over the place now. But they know they have daddy's undivided attention.
Yeah.
They can talk about anything that they want to talk about. They're not gonna hear daddy fuss about cleaning up socks. Get off that damn game. Watch how you talking to your mama.
Man.
They not finna have, they not getting ready to, they don't hear none of that, which all of that is important. But this 30, 45, sometimes 30 minutes, sometimes we get an hour, but 30, that it is their time.
Yeah.
They drive the conversation, and it is so important to them, man. Um, and to piggyback what Glenn said, man, that apologizing to your kid is so funny. He said that. I just had a memory come up on Facebook from 2 years ago with that same thing, with me talking about parents. We have to apologize to our kids.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that when I post something on Facebook, I'm really talking to me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I had just had an experience where I had to apologize to my children.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And really had to think about how hard that was and how tough it was. But then when I did it, it was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah.
That's important. They need to hear us apologize to them. You're wrong sometimes. So how can I sit up there and correct you? You know what I'm saying? Or tell you that you have to apologize when you have never
Man.
heard me apologize.
Right.
That's
Come on. What, like Andrew said, make it make sense.
Right.
Make it make sense. And that's, and in their minds, they thinking the same thing. Because
Right.
you know what? We can't fool them.
Right.
We can't fool them. So, like I said, just creating that space for them to be honest, creating that space for them to be able to, like Glenn said, say dumb shit.
Right.
Because let's be honest, well, for those of us that have older children, we know they say some stupid shit.
Yeah, they say.
I mean, they say, boy, you be like, yeah, this, I know this ain't my child saying this buffoonery that is spitting out of their mouth. I know this didn't come from me. You know, but it's like, but letting them get it out, letting them get it out. And sometimes, and that's a work in progress for me. You know what I'm saying? Just the other day, my 15-year-old was saying, so I said, shut up, be quiet. I don't want to hear you. Because I didn't have the space.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't have the space to take it. You know what I'm saying? And that when it's in itself is just being honest and like, man, okay, listen, Jalen, I ain't got time for your buffoonery right now. I don't have the space. Let's take a time out. You go that way, and I'm gonna go this way for your sake and mine. You know what I'm saying? But yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said though, man, just creating that space, man, it's very important, man. And it doesn't take long, fellas. Like it really doesn't, as some of you guys have stated, man. Some phone call, like you said, Dr. Damon, with just the time that you have on those phone calls, or like Wimper said earlier, you feel like you don't, because you're not present 24/7. They just require. It's really not much. Because
Right.
a lot of times we getting on their nerves.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? For real.
For real.
You know what I'm saying? We don't like being smothered. Let's just be honest. As men, we don't like being smothered. We like our space too, as well. And we have to remember that our kids want their space as well. But you have to recognize and be aware of when they need you in that time that they expect. And if you set an expectation of time for them, you better not. I remember the first couple of times I missed on Friday. All these little dudes call themselves telling on me.
Yeah.
The nerve. I said, the nerve. Look at these little dudes. My wife was like, hey, man, you need to. I'm like, these. But it was true.
You show up 7 years in a row. You missed that one. Man, this dude's a deadbeat, mom.
Yeah. But we say that, and we're jokingly talking about it. But it's true. It is very important. And they will let you know. They will let you know. Hey, daddy, come on, man. It's what you said. Okay? And so, yeah, just creating that space.
Man, the reality of it, though, is awesome. Even the complaint is like, yo, you value me. You value this time. And I can appreciate that and respect that. Seriously.
Absolutely. So I'll say mine, and then you can finish this up. For me, I feel like one of the things that I'm going to say is one of my number one parenting skills is something that I've committed to lately, and this is not without sacrifices, but that is I'm committed to showing my daughter what it looks like to live fully and show up as my best self. Because I want that for her, right? We see our kids and we're like, he or she can be president someday, or they can do these amazing things. But if I'm not showing up literally as the day by day example of doing my best to show up as my best self, then how can I expect her to walk in that same light, right? And finding herself. So for me, like I want her to know that no matter what it looked like and what some of the struggles were, I showed up as my best self every time. And so that's what I would say, and that's a big part of what this platform has meant for me in really helping and showing up with Donnell. And what modern manhood looks like for me has been showing up as my best self, even against the odds, even against the struggles, even against the internal shit, right? Because there's a whole lot of that. But I want my daughter and everyone who sees us and understands what that name, what my name, what her name, what our name represents, is showing up as your best self.
In whatever capacity it looks like.
Confidence.
Yeah.
Building confidence is so important. But that's the main reason for my failure to launch as an adult, was because I had all these people around me telling me, "Oh, you're so smart. We have all these expectations, and you've got all these talents." But I never learned confidence because I never had an actual opportunity to flex my ideas and try things that I want to try and see if it works or doesn't. So with my kid, I make sure that I let her struggle a little bit in the moment before I just swoop in and save her.
Yeah, I like it.
I always had a rule when I would take her to the playground. I never made her get on the monkey bars or the fire pole or nothing like that. Never made her try anything. But anything that she would start, I wouldn't let her back down from it. You got to finish it. You got to go all the way across. You got to climb all the way up the ladder. You can. I'm scared, Daddy. I know you're scared, but finish it anyway. And like that's been my motto her whole life. I wish somebody would have did it for me, but I do that for her. Now she can. I took her to this little parkour thing that's here in Oklahoma City. Like, that girl is so brave. Like, she climbed all the way up. She's jumping across gaps that I'm just like, yo. Like, she will dive off of something high and know that I'm gonna catch her. Like, she's so brave. There's things that I have to check myself to make sure I'm not projecting onto her, like, all my fears and things like that. But I think the best lesson that I can teach her to know that if she's got an idea, if she does the work, it's gonna work.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro.
Matter of fact, I gotta go, gentlemen. That's my daughter calling.
So yeah, we're about to wrap up anyway, y'all. We're wrapping up.
I love y'all. I appreciate this opportunity to speak with y'all.
Always, Joe. We appreciate you, bro. Man, I gotta say that's probably
Love you back, bro.
Yeah, my number one parent still has probably been the same thing, man. Really creating that space for my kids to show up vulnerable, not just accepting defeat, but creating this space to where they can overcome whatever they seem to be lacking in that moment in time, especially having girls. You know what I'm saying? Allowing them to have the emotional space to evaluate wherever they're at in life, empathize with them, but be vulnerable to share my personal testament so that they can have different perspectives of what life should look like and allow them to discover that for themselves.
Absolutely. Guys, we want to thank you for such a dynamic and amazing conversation. For everyone who's listening to this, be it live or even be it in a recording, we want to thank you for tapping in, because we know the value that you have in our community and our culture, in men and in fathers. So thank you to everyone who has supported what Father's Month has looked like, because this is our capstone to that. We thank you for all the support, and we will keep looking, keep watching, keep supporting, keep showing up for your families, for yourself, and for your communities, because we damn sure are on this side of it.
It's only gonna get better. It's only gonna get better.
We need you.
Yes, we do.
Yes,
absolutely.
Straight up.
Shout out to all the fathers out there. Be your best, give your best, and take care of yourselves.
Peace.
Peace.